Good evening. Thanks for watching the opening statement right here on Tampa Bay TV. This evening, I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing a woman I have known for many years, a phenomenal woman, I might add, that has done so many great things in our community. So I wanted to make sure that we got an opportunity to talk to her on the opening statement. And that phenomenal woman is Miss Jeannette Bradley. Jeannette, I'm going to allow you to kind of tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. I did research it and I looked at your background. I know what you do, but I want to hear it in your own words. I know that you've been an advocate for many years for our children in our community and for some of our affordable housing not-for-profits. So introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yeah, so in fact, this morning I was at Kimball Elementary School. I just don't want to go too far without saying that. Speaking with parents and talking about their concern with the Kimball closing down. So I'm going to be advocating with them for what they do between now and the end of the school year. So I do a lot of.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. I'm going to start over. I hear this TV, then I'm going to I have lost my mind because all of that will be heard on my show. So I'm going to start over. He'll just cut off the front part of it.
No worries.
You're talking about Kimball. That's great. What a great way to lead into it.
No worries.
All right, so we're going to start over. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the opening statement right here on Tampa Bay TV on the Lit TV network. I have the phenomenal pleasure this evening of talking to a woman that I have known for many years who has advocated in our community for so many people. She has worked with not-for-profits. She has her own not-for-profit, but I want her to introduce herself to you all this evening, and then we're going to get into asking her some questions. But Miss Bradley, would you go ahead?
Thank you so much for having me today. I was thrilled when you says, "Oh, I got to have you on," and it's like, very timely. So yes, I am an advocate for really children, but really it's about anybody who resides in low-income communities that are sort of getting the raw end of the stick. This morning, as a matter of fact, when you text me to say, "Hey, I need this," I was sitting amongst beautiful Black and Hispanic women at Kimball Elementary School. They've gotten word, and many of them haven't, that they're closing the school down at the end of the school year. Now, it says closing the school down to the kids. So I understand that. I have my nonprofit there. We're working on we've built gardens there on the school campus, and we work with the children and the parents to help empower them. And we're just using gardening principles. But for the most part, I'm meeting with the moms, and they're concerned. And it's part of what I do with my nonprofit, What We Could Be Exchange. And the signature program is called Seed Folk Kids. And it's really about planting seeds in children while they're planting seeds in the ground so that they might be successful by the time they get to middle school and high school. We're trying to catch them in elementary school. But right now, we're at Kimball. We're at Edison Elementary, and we're at James K-8. So the advocacy is one of those things that I do.
Let me ask you this. I heard that Kimball was being closed, but nobody gave me any information as to why the school's being closed. Is the school board sharing that type of information currently with the community as to why they're closing the school?
Yeah, so from what I can tell, the redistricting meetings they had last year around January with the community, with Addison Davis, talked about solutions for, I guess, the financial crises that they've been in for quite some time. And they were open to listening to recommendations from the community. Well, lots of folks went out, came to those school meetings, which were at various schools, but Black folks, Black parents, Hispanic
Right.
parents were not really represented in those numbers. And as a result, a lot of the schools that are high Black, brown populations
Mhm.
are on the list for closure. Kimball is just one of them. So as I talked to the parents this morning, they were surprised in many cases that their school was closing down. They have no idea that the school is closing.
So basically what you're saying is that the school board and the superintendent has not been open and honest with the parents in sharing that information. I mean, they shared it early on back when they were doing the study and talking about it, but they're not digging in and making sure the parents understand that their school will be closing at the end of the school year.
Yeah, that piece there, they're not digging in and making sure Black and brown parents
Right.
understand what is at stake.
Right.
So they're just saying, oh, you remember the redistricting meetings, here are the schools that are on. And if you're, and then they have these long kind of letters that, again, I'm talking Black and brown in low income communities.
Absolutely.
And many times when I'm in meetings at Kimball, I speak and somebody has to translate, which tells me that there are also people who haven't been here in the country very long. So I don't think that the communication that has come out is clear enough, as you indicate, to let those parents truly understand what's about to happen. And many of those parents have been with their kids have been in that school for 3, 4, 5 years.
What grade does Kimball go up to?
It's K through 5.
K through 5.
5th grade.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it would be important that maybe I ask our superintendent to have a meeting and bring in translators to have this conversation with the parents at the school?
I think the conversation is going to be important. I do know we have set up a meeting with one board member, Shake Washington, that's coming up pretty soon. And he's going to have parents that he speaks with to talk to so that they can talk to him about the school and the importance it has in the lives of that community. It does not hurt to have a meeting with the superintendent. So I would not turn that down, and neither would they.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, when I get home, why don't you and I connect? And I need to have a conversation with Van Ayers anyway.
Okay.
I have had some conversation with Mr. Young, but I have not talked about the closing of the schools at all. Neither have I had a conversation as to whether or not people really get it and understand the true impact of about what's about to happen.
Yeah, I post it every once in a while, and somebody will put, kind of respond and says, "What? That school is closing?" Well, so are others, but this one is another Black person's namesake for Sylvia Kimball, who used to be a county commissioner. She went to FAMU. She, I think, was an AKA, and she was she loved the community. There's a school named after her.
Right.
What do we do with that? And I'm not big on just for the namesake. It's that, but it's also those parents, those children, and how we're just shifting them around without any real thought as to the kind of impact it has on community. But to answer your question, as of this morning, I spoke with someone. There's 367 students right now in that school. The capacity, and I don't know the exact numbers, the capacity is around 500, maybe 50, give or take. So they are under, but as I look at the demographic list that that's posted on the website, there are other schools that are under capacity as well. The question is, why this particular school?
Right.
So we are preparing right now to pretty much ask the question. So your engagement would be great. Robin Lockett is also engaging. I spoke with her as I was driving back after that meeting, and she pretty much also agrees that we should be speaking with the superintendent.
Because, I mean, if we don't speak up now, it'll be too late when they get to the end of the school year.
Which is what I said. Yeah.
Do you think there's any possibility of changing their minds? When you talk about under, we're not talking about 300 under, you're talking about 100 and something, basically under, but it's not the only one, like you said. So yeah, we really need to better understand why this school. Why?
Right.
And you know, for me, it's almost like all of our schools where there are more Black and brown children, we seem to have more issues in getting our school boards to understand that stability is critically important to our children. And so for me, I just don't quite understand how they don't understand. And they're in the business of taking care of our children.
Because they don't really have to understand. This is a group that maybe voter turnout is low. And the properties are many of them probably rent rather than own. Right. So you're looking at a group of people that don't necessarily have the voice that maybe they had at Plant High School when it was also in the mix. Right. And those parents spoke up and suddenly they're no longer in the mix. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have the voice, but I think you are right. If we start early, we talked about that this morning, we don't wait till April or May before we start complaining. We start talking about the value to the community. We begin informing the community. The parents are ready to fight. And I hate to use that word, but the parents are ready to stand up.
But we do mean fight, that we mean to stand up, and we're going to fight.
Stand up for themselves.
It's right. Yeah. Period. Yeah. And I look forward to being able to join you all in that fight. Even if I'm not in the Tampa, I will certainly make sure that I have my team there and we're up on Zoom so that I can speak and have a conversation right along with the rest of you all. I so look forward to that. But
I'm totally excited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I also wanted you to come on because I know that you're putting on a huge event for Black Friday, and it includes some, are these your original pieces?
These are my pieces, yes. So this is my third annual Black Friday urban art sale. So I do abstract art, and I try to tell the stories in my art of community, of our community. Right. But you know what's really awesome about the art pieces is that it's just not Black folks that buy it. It's everybody that buys and enjoys the art. I get to tell stories the way that we want the stories told, rather than the way others tell the stories for us. And I think it's about time that we do that. I do it through art. Others might do it through other ways. You do it from a political standpoint. We have to get the power, take the power back.
That's right, it's ours.
And begin telling the stories. And as people buy the art, I say to them, now you can tell the story about, Black little girls or little boys or, or whatever the story is. So on Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, I'll be hosting my third annual. And this year it's being hosted at The Well.
Yes.
I'm so excited about that. So The Well just opened, as you know. Dr. Vondelin Wright is the owner. She is absolutely phenomenal. One of the most community-oriented people that I know. She owns Health Matters Pharmacy, which was on 50th now, but has now located right in the heart of East Tampa. On 40th.
It's at The Well, the pharmacy.
On 40th Street at The Well. Where are you going to be? I'm going to be on 40th Street at The Well. I mean, it's a community health and wellness clinic. There'll be doctors and pharmacies and insurance agents. She's making it a one-stop shopping. She's going to add yoga lessons. There's going to be, they have a great patio, which is where I will be on that day. From 4 to 8 p.m., wine, some cheese and some crackers, a lot of my art. There will be originals, but there will also be prints, unlimited and limited edition prints, framed and unframed. And I'll also be introducing my artware, So some of my pieces have been transferred to clothing.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, that event's going to take place on Friday, November 24th from 4 to 8 at 5110 North 40th Street, right at the well. Well, I have had the distinct pleasure of being there when the ribbon was cut for the well. I've been working with Vondelin for a number of years. She is awesome, and I really love working with her. So I know that you're going to have a great event. So my job is to try and make sure I can get by there on Friday. I promised my team not to put anything on my calendar, to please leave me free. So I haven't looked at the calendar. So my hope is that they don't put anything on my calendar. We're going to take a break for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some other things that I know you have been involved in, and I look forward to that. So we'll be right back. Well, thank you, community, for continuing to watch the opening statement with the phenomenal Jeannette Bradley. Thank you. We're on opening statement right here in Tampa Bay on the Tampa Bay channel. The reason why we have this channel is for the very information that you are talking about. It's for us to tell our own story. I'm unlimited to anything I want to talk about, and anybody else that gets a show. Your show is your show. You could even have an art show up on the channel and sell your art pieces from your show. But it is strictly whatever anybody wants to talk about. And I'm grateful to the folk at Lit TV Network because it gives us a platform that we don't have to worry about whether or not we can speak our free minds. As long as it's educational, inspiring, and uplifting, those are the conversations we want to have. And we know right here in our very own city, we need to have that. There's so much history here. So I look forward to looking at your pieces, and maybe you can walk me through some of the stories. Or will you tell some of the stories at the event?
At the event, I will be talking about some of the stories and the inspiration behind pieces that are some of my newest pieces. And then I'll just kind of walk around with my glass of wine and look at the pieces with folks and really help them feel, I think, good about deciding what the story is and telling it. And I think that given the political climate that's out there, if we don't tell our own stories, if we don't step up to the plate, people that look like me will definitely be left behind. We're getting left behind. And we have to find our own ways of engaging and supporting each other at the same time.
We absolutely must. If we know anything, we know what the political climate says, and that is that your history does not count.
Yes.
We want to eradicate our history. How crazy is that? But we're the very people who helped build this country. But now they want to erase our history.
Right.
Every time I think about the fact that the governor has said things like, oh, well, slavery helped you all. Why are you upset about it? You learned some valuable lessons that you're able to use. Well, guess what? We came to this nation with some we joined you all over here in the United States from our homeland with all of this knowledge on building. There were no architects, but our people were builders. So,
and that's why us. If you think about it, that's why us, because we knew how to plant the rice. Yes. We knew how to plant the tobacco and all of those crops. We understood that, and they knew that. That's why, that's one of the, I think, main reasons that we were chosen to become the slaves on this continent. So we brought skills and taught them. There's no way that this country would have become the superpower in the short amount of time that it did without
us. So when I think about it, I'm like, really, Governor, really, you should be ashamed of yourself. But and I'm grateful that you are telling this story. And I know that at some point we're going to just sit down and talk about some history of the city of Tampa and what our city has been through. Because I've been here my entire life. I was born and raised here, and I think so were you.
Well, I was actually, I'm an Army brat.
Oh, okay, but you've been here a long time.
We've been, our family, we've been born everywhere. And, but when people ask me, Tampa is home. Tampa's home.
I'm excited about all of the things that you have been involved in. And I know that having a not-for-profit and being able to help children in low-income communities is critically important. And
It
for
is.
people who have that ability but are not using it,
Yeah.
we need to be asking them why not,
We
because
need
our
them.
children need them right now more than ever. But the fact that books are being pulled out of our libraries that talk about us,
Yeah.
we need many of our teachers who have that expertise and were there to talk about us. So
That is true.
yeah, we really do. So we've got to try and engage many of our teachers who have retired and are no longer working to at least come to some of our schools, but you can't do it at school. That's the crazy part. But come, I believe Beulah has a program, and some of our other churches are also gearing up to allow instructors to come in and talk about history, because you can't really talk about it in our schools, and teachers are afraid.
But what I think is probably the most important thing that I would want the audience to really understand about the schools. Um, I do art, and the art is inspired by the work that I do in the community, which of course is working in the gardens and the schools, and the messages that I'm giving to children and their parents. I try to paint it on a canvas and then write an inspiration behind it. But the love that these parents have for their kids, we want to assume that they don't care.
But they do.
They do.
And we both know that.
I just need the audience to know they do. They love their children, and they do. But as I say to my mom all the time, she likes to get mad at what she sees on the news. And I said, and she'll says, well, those people, they shouldn't vote for him. And I said, but they will, because where he comes from, his constituents are just the way that he is. They're not like you. Well,
Right.
these parents are not like you. So because your life is a certain way, it doesn't mean that this struggling parent over here can do the things that you can do. So I become that surrogate parent that stands in for that parent when they can't be at that school. I'm at that school. I'll give that hug to that child that needs to come out of that car and get to school, but you can tell they just got out of bed a few minutes ago.
Right.
And I'm there to, if I'm walking through the hall and the principal says, hey, can you talk to this kid, right? And it's probably a kid that I've interacted with, and they would know that already. And then I can help them sort through maybe a fight they just had, what have you. But kids seeing community present is key. And I know our fraternities will come in and they do these little, but it's more than that. It's more than that. The connection, I have my program where once a week in each of 3 schools. But then I'll go in there during the day and just go and hang out. I'll do some gardening work, or some of my team members, and we're all volunteers, will go and do gardening work, and the kids will see us and they're waving and they're hugging and they're happy. This is what teachers need from us. They need us to be present.
Well, I promise you that after March 7th, I'll join you in some of your schools and just say hello to the children. I mean,
that's all you get.
I know that
it.
sometimes all they need is just to see a smile on somebody else's face to warm their hearts. Some of our children go through some real trauma in the community. And what they see in the evening before they return back to school the next day directly impact them. So we're going to have that conversation on another day, when we can really just kind of talk about what impacts our children that other kids may not ever see. I had to walk through gun violence in my community. I heard shots all night long. I wasn't able to sleep. I had to hit the floor. And people don't really think about that. They say, oh, well, they're just bad. No, they're not. Many times they're just traumatized by what they have seen and heard from the time they left school to the next day when they get back.
2 beautiful kids that are in our program, and I didn't know this story about them until the little boy was in trouble because he was fighting, and I happened to come in early, and I said, okay, I'll talk to him. But they gave me a quick that dad murdered mom, and this wasn't that long ago. Dad murdered mom, he's in jail. Big brother has to take care of the 2, and these are elementary age students. And the little girl yesterday was talking to me as we were making something on the stove. We were learning about cacao bean and coffee. So when we go in there, we're not just hugging kids and whatever. We're actually teaching them
something,
and
yes.
getting them ready for
life.
yeah, we're
That's what
actually
it is.
teaching them, and we're hugging them and teaching them at the same time, and
Right.
interacting with their teachers and all of that. But as you said, the stories are just unbelievable. So for me to then not be that mother figure, but to be around for that little girl, and then for me to find a mentor for that little boy that just come into the school and sit and have lunch sometimes.
Right.
That works.
That's critically important. So I don't want us to go off the air without talking again about your third annual Black Friday Urban Art Holiday Sale that's coming up on the 24th.
Yes.
That's going to be taking place at the Well. Those of you all who don't know where the Well is, 5110 North 40th Street. Right.
And can you add to that? If some people know it by the old 1828 club.
Absolutely. It is no longer a club. Now it's a health center. Was a club, health center.
But that transformation is amazing.
Yes, it is.
They took something that the community saw as a negative,
an eyesore, and they wanted gone, and turned it
and they made it into, oh my God. And that's what we try to do with these schools. We're taking schools that people see as a negative, CDF schools, if you will, and we're trying